Hello and welcome. My name is Jasper from HiFi Clubben, and you're watching the HiFi Clubben HiFi Week sessions. And today I have a really special guest talking probably about one of my favorite topics, which is home cinemas. And maybe you should introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself and what we're going to see today.
Sure. Thanks, Jasper. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's really a pleasure for me to be invited to HiFi Weeks and the session over here to talk to you guys, to show you a bit about our products and also to answer your questions, because you sent some in advance to Jasper, and we have nice interview style. He has some in front of him to pop them in while I'm doing my presentation here. Just a bit about my person. I'm Oliver, working for the brand, or let's say working in this industry for over 20 years now, and I'm the product manager for Europe for Denon, and taking care of about hi-fi products, AV systems, system solutions, Denon home speakers, soundbars, so a very wide portfolio of products. And I will touch on these, let's say, wide portfolio in the presentation today, but the main focus, as Jasper mentioned, will be home cinema, right?
I'm excited.
Great, then let's get it started. This one we can already skip. That was my short introduction. The three topics I have for you today is A110. So you know we celebrated, or still are celebrating, our 110th anniversary of Denon, and started last year with a very nice lineup of special products. Then we go into HDMI 2.1, surely the technology added on the AV receivers last year, so the hot topic.
Quite a couple questions about that.
Absolutely. And then we will have a brief look to our Denon home portfolio, which is actually the active speakers, the wireless speakers, which you can place in your home for a nice mighty room solution for streaming music. But we also have a nice addition to it, the Denon home soundbar, the 550. So let's get started. That was our intro picture for the 110th anniversary. As you can see, we have four nice products shown here, which we especially designed for the 110th anniversary to really have the best possible products to celebrate. And yeah, a nice gift box, as you can see. If you want to know more and very much of details on the A110 products, visit our websites. You will find a lot of detailed information, inside shots, all this kind of stuff. So I'm only going to touch it briefly here to give you a brief insight on what kind of products are in the portfolio for the 110s. First of all, AVC A110. And as you can see, it has quite similarities to the 8500, the flagship of our AV receiver lineup. However, it does come in a very special color. And that's not all. Of course, it's much more what is inside, because there a tremendous work has been done from our engineering side to make this one really an outstanding product.
To interrupt you, at that point, as you mentioned, the 8500, I think also last year there was an update announced, the 8500 HA, which is supposed to feature the 8K HDMI 2.1 chipset, and maybe you can tell us a bit about how they differ, because we had both in store here and I was able to look at both, but they were quite different in terms of sound and overall build quality.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Please go into the details.
So first topic you mentioned, we are going to offer an upgrade kit for the 8500. So the flagship, the 8500, is already in the market for 3 years now, 3.5 years, and we value the money you spend for these high performance AV receivers. So, and we will often upgrade to make it even future-proof again with the 8K HDMI 2.1 compatibility. This will come out in May time, June, roughly, so that you can bring in your receiver. It will get updated by a qualified service station. You will get it returned, and you have really up-to-date product with full capability. Looking to the differentiation on the 8110 to the 8500, of course the 8110 already has the HDMI 2.1, but that's let's say I would call it a minor difference, because that's a kind of feature. Yeah. Whereas really makes a big difference is in the performance level, because over 350 changes have been done, upgrades, on the existing 8500 to come to the A110 model. 150 on the mechanical side, over 200 on the electrical side, means better parts, better power supply, better components, shielding, and so much more. Really, a lot of details have been changed.
I opened up both, and they looked quite different, to be honest.
They are,
Not even similar. But the number 350, that's more than I expected from just opening it up and looking at it.
Yeah, so
good to know.
Yeah, so that was where the engineers, let's say, we just let them go and said there's no barrier. Think of what you would like to do to really make something outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's what they came up with.
Awesome.
Yeah, great. Yeah, as you mentioned, you opened the box and that's actually what you see inside. Yeah, so it's really nicely built, full balanced design. On the left-hand side, you can see 7 channels. Right-hand side, you can see 6 channels of amplification on our monolithic amplifier board construction. Very powerful transformer. And a lot of details are just hidden on the boards, which you can't actually see, but I can guarantee you it's all for the best performance.
Well, for me, this is a thing of beauty. Maybe not everybody agrees, but I look at this and I think...
So it's really something for the specialists.
Talking about beauty, we have a question about that, because the color is also different. It's the graphite silver color. Normally,
yes,
the normal Denon receivers come in the classical silver and black edition, where I never could quite choose. Now, there's a new color. Are you thinking of continuing it outside the A110 series?
Yeah, actually not, because it's really especially made for the A110 anniversary models, and it's very difficult to produce as well. So it's much more expensive in production than the, let's say, standard black, because black is relatively easy to match over a long period of time even. Premium silver, it's a challenge already, but it's okay. But graphite silver, it's a nightmare. So our engineers are really reluctant to go more in this direction because it's just too expensive. Yeah, but there's some more on these A110 anniversary models, and that's an amplifier and a CD player as well. Yeah, same philosophy behind, just get the best out of these products by applying the best components you can find.
Awesome. Also got another question. Well, you need an amplifier, you need a CD player, and lots of people stream. And we have a customer question who asked, Denon has released the A110 editions of various products. Will there be a streamer of the same quality in the near future?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm fighting hard for it to my Japanese colleagues, because I'm also responsible to, let's say, stand up to get the products for the European market, which are needed here. And for me, it's a clear yes, we need to have. And I'm in a good hope that we can make it. But as mentioned, just mentioned, color is very difficult to produce. So I can't say yes, but I would like to have, let's say it this way. So we're working on it. Yeah, and also here you can see the same philosophy. Really is nicest way of construction, very clean build inside, best components. But one point to best components, it's very difficult to really sound tune to design such type of products, because it's not just about putting the best component in the box and say, hey, it's all in and you get the best performance. It's all about getting these good components working in the right balance to each other. Very big challenge, where we do have very good engineering and sound masters. I will come to this point in a second as well again. And the fourth product in the lineup is a cartridge for the vinyl lovers, just to round up the full package. And it's exclusive, authentic, and special, as you can imagine. Yeah? So, but that's actually, it should be only a brief touch on the A110. I think was already
exciting
much longer
than for me at least
than expected. But okay, let's see. Then in AVRs, AVR lineup 2021. You know, we introduced a big number of new AVRs last year. Of course, we're not going to replace these this year again, because they are just fresh on the market. So they are really up to date. They have the latest features set. And so the edition on new products for this year will be relatively limited. However, I will just go now and show you what went into the products last year, which you can participate this year still from. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
If we design a product, we have actually a strategy of 3 pillars. We always ensure that we have the latest connectivity when it comes to audio, video, a network, Wi-Fi, so it should be all there. And also voice control, HEOS for our streaming platform, it's all in there, so checked. Yeah. So then we have technology leaders, so we're always looking to have the latest audio technology also implemented. So we have been first to come with surround, with 3D immersive sound, but also with Orwell 3D, for example, and also the latest we are now adding is Dts X Pro for the specialist. Yeah. And then we have a big legacy in audio quality, as I already just explained with the A110. It's not only about the best component, but it's also about how to bring these in the right balance, how to tune, how to make them work together, like a football team. Yeah. So if you just have first-class players, but they are not a team, it doesn't work. So you have to bring it all together. So these are the pillars. Our listening room in Shirakawa in Japan, so where the sound tuning is done by our sound engineers for AV receivers, 7.2.6 setup. You can see also the big Bowers 800 speakers, so they require a lot of energy. That's already a proof for our receivers that we are able to drive, even with the smaller AV receivers, powerful speakers. Yeah? If you go up in the AV receiver line, of course, it's much easier to drive the speakers and to get a better performance. And that's also actually where it's about to get the performance. You need to have the capabilities in the product, the power, the energy to drive the speakers. And that's where you go up in the lineup with the quality, of course.
Especially with the high-end speakers, as you show there, which not only need the power, but the definition.
Exactly, yeah. So we use, of course, high-end speakers because we would like to reveal all the details. If the speakers are too, let's say, too weak and can't reveal the details, we don't know how good our product is or how bad it is and where we have to tweak further, right?
So feel free to take me there next time you go. I'd love to give that setup a listen.
Maybe you should do the first step and come to Eindhoven. So in Eindhoven in the Netherlands, our European headquarters is located, and we also here have a very nice listening room, which you can see pictured here. And every product we are bringing to the European market is also auditioned, evaluated in our listening room in Eindhoven. And we invite our colleagues over to join us, so together we can work on the final tweaking, final tuning of the product. And you can see the guy over here, the Japanese guy, is our sound engineer, especially for AV receivers, Yuki Takahashi. And he is really very much into love with his products. So he is also the designer of the A110, for example. Yeah, so
Must
his
be
baby. He is very proud of it. Okay, then let's move on. Just a list of products. Our lineup, it's starting from a 5-channel, going up to 13-channel AV receiver, built-in amplification I'm talking about, and all the type of different feature sets we're going to add the higher we go in the portfolio. And here's our network platform, Odyssey, our auto calibration system. I will come back to that one later. Then you have the different sound formats, which the higher you go, the more we do add. Simple solutions from a 5-channel really going up to a 13-channel amplification where you really can build a huge cinema if you like. Yeah? So, and all the ones with the blue circle around it, these have been updated last year with the HDMI 2.1. The flagship, as you mentioned, there will be an upgrade somewhere in May, June time, so it's also safe. And for this year, actually, we are going to update the last pieces left, which aren't updated last year.
Okay.
So just to give a brief idea where we are going to heading towards this year. But now, HDMI 2.1, hot topic from last year.
Hot topic.
Yeah.
And already got the first questions about that. Because HDMI features, HDMI 2.1 features lots of additions that are especially great for people who have consoles, like the new PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. And one of those features, I think, has to do with latency. So the question was what the input lag for PlayStation 5s in combination with Denon AVR is.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a very special question right from the start. Input lag, for the guys who are not aware of what we are talking about. So for gaming, it's very important that your video and your audio signal is very much in sync. Yeah, even if you run it via an AV receiver, it should stay in sync, because if somebody is going to shoot you, you want to not feel the bullet before you hear the sound. So it has to be in sync. You will immediately want to hear the shot to hide away, to duck away. So, and that's what the input lag means. Yeah, and the nice thing is the input lag is below 1 millisecond. Yeah, so you don't experience any input lag. You can't, let's say, distinguish between a difference between the audio and the video signal. This counts if you do ALLM, so auto low latency mode, which does switch off all the additional video processing, so to give it really have a perfect match on audio and video signal. If your console, game, or your TV doesn't support ALLM, doesn't matter, because as soon as you switch off video conversion and lip sync in the AV receiver, it actually does the same. Yeah, so no input lag. Yeah, answers the question?
That answers the question more than sufficiently.
Okay, very good. Yeah, maybe just a few information on HDMI 2.1. The biggest difference, of course, is that the bandwidth is much extended to the former 2.0 standard. So it goes up to 48 gigabits. Before we had 18 gigabits, which was already a lot of data here, but now it's even much extended. And this is needed, of course, to fully support 8K resolution up to 60 hertz, but also 4K 120 hertz. And that's actually where the gamers are really keen on, because 4K 120 hertz really gives you a smooth movement without any stuttering, for example. Yeah, so that's where the best gaming does come into play. Best video, of course, higher resolution, more video details, dynamic HDR and so on. I have it on my next slide, so we can talk about a bit. Best audio quality, of course, you also have now more bandwidth to transport the highest audio resolutions. Best user experience, also here some features like ALLM, for example, or quick media transfer, all these kind of stuff. Yeah. So let's dig a bit deeper into the details. So best picture quality, image resolution, the more details you have, the more dots you have in your video, the sharper, the less you can differentiate between the single dots, and the image gets just much smoother. And you can see the pixels available on 1080p, where we have been very happy about 6-7 years ago. It was great picture quality, 2 million pixels, wow. Yeah? Now we are with 33 million pixels, so it's really exploding, and you can't see any difference anymore. And actually it is, you would think if I go from 4K to 8K, it's double the pixel. No, it's 4 times, yeah, because it's extended in both directions, vertical as well as horizontal, so it's 4 times.
So actually, the TV we're having here is an 8K display, so it's crazy to think about that you have basically 4 4K panels in one TV, and just for the presentation, I think it already looks amazing.
And I'm sitting very close. I can't detect any dot or pixel here, so it's that smooth. Yeah, frame rate. That is talking about how often the picture will get refreshed per second. The higher the frame rate, the smoother is all the movement. Yeah, imagine you have a picture will get only refreshed every second, so you would see tock, 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 tock. Yeah, so if it gets refreshed 120 times in a second, it goes just this. So no stuttering. Color depth also very important to get the most vivid pictures, the most smooth pictures. The more color details you have, the less degradation you have in, for example, in the sky. It's much more detailed. Yeah. Okay. Then dynamic HDR. So we already had HDR, hyper high dynamic range, gives more, let's say, better contrast in an easy way. And HDR was a technology, or is still a technology, which defines one time for a movie how the brightest and the darkest scene is, and optimize the contrast. With dynamic HDR, the benefit is that you actually can do it for every single scene of a movie. So you always have the perfect ratio on the brightest and the darkest scenes, the best contrast. And yeah, this really makes picture quality even more natural, more dynamic.
Great.
Yeah, good. Then EARC and QMS, all these abbreviations here. EARC, it's enhanced audio return channel, which makes it possible to return the audio signal which is running on your TV to the AV receiver. And with ARC, it was not possible to do it for Dolby Atmos or Dts X. Now with enhanced, means EARC, it's possible.
So it's just a one cable connection from your TV to your AV receiver
Yeah.
to also get all the good audio formats from your favorite streaming services.
Yeah, exactly. You have all your smart TVs with all the applications running on the TV. You have the nicest picture, and you have weak sound because standard speakers of a TV are really bad. So the easiest way is just to feed back the audio signal via one HDMI cable via the ARC channel to the receiver. Yeah. Quick media switching is just that switching between different video resolutions. It's much smoother. You don't have any blackouts anymore, so it's just faster. So you can more enjoy your videos, your movies. Yeah, and here are the hot topics for the gaming guys. Variable refresh rate, so it's also something we talked about. Refresh rate. The more refresh, the more often a picture gets refreshed in a movie, it is smoother. In video games, it's a bit different. There are some scenes in video games where you don't have any change in the pixel, very little, so you can reduce the refresh rate, maybe to just 25. However, if there's a big action, a lot of movement going on, you just can increase the refresh rate to 120 Hertz, for example, and that can be adapted a variable. Quick frame transport, that's also, as soon as the frame is ready, it can be sent to the TV screen, or to the TV screen, and it doesn't have to wait before a second frame is there to complete the picture, so it's faster as well. And then we have the auto low latency mode we just talked about when it comes to input lag. So there's no input lag anymore, and ALLM does make it automatically, so the AV receiver can detect from the TV screen if there's ALLM mode active. AV receiver reacts to it, just deactivate all the video scaling and lip syncs, and that's really spot on.
So basically what it does is that it enables the consoles, the AV receivers and the TV to communicate properly, to exchange pictures and audio in the best and smoothest way.
Exactly, yeah. No?
Talking about that, I've got a bunch of questions, specifically again about gaming, and one of those questions was, there was in the news an issue that was brought up with HDMI 2.1 concerning 4K 120 frames.
Yep.
That
plus HDR.
Plus HDR.
Because that makes also a difference here. Mm-hmm.
Where there were, as far as I understood, picture problems with some people. And in that precise combination. Maybe you can talk a bit about that and if there is a fix for it.
Yeah, exactly. So actually the picture problem was, just, it stayed black.
Okay, well that is...
it's a problem,
that
definitely.
is a problem.
But very limited customer, I would say, are affected by that issue. And just to summarize it, it is the Xbox Series X in default mode, out of the box, the AV receiver, it's all working fine, no problem at all. For the, I call it now, the hardcore gamers, who really would like to get the latest best out of it, have the fitting games to it, they set the output of the Xbox Series X to 120 Hz, 4K HDR. They have to change in the AV receiver this HDMI output setting to 8K enhanced. And then normally, or expected would be that you can see the picture on the TV screen. However, in this configuration, the screen stayed black. Yeah, that was because there have been different protocols available for the communication, and unfortunately, the Xbox used a different than the chip supplier we selected for our AV receivers. So, long story short, picture stayed black. However, as we said, we're going to bring a fix, and this one I can confirm. We found a solution which is very easy for the customer to install, and then issue is completely gone, and we will bring this to market for these customers free of charge in May time.
Right.
Yeah. So
that is a good solution.
Stay tuned. You will get a solution. It will take a bit longer still. Apologize for that. But as said, we stay to our promise. We will bring a solution and get everything working.
I got another question, which is way easier and a bit longer.
Maybe I would just go one slide ahead,
sure.
because
please.
For in between until we bring the solution, I just pictured here how you can configure your system if you have an Xbox Series X, connect it directly to your TV screen and feed back the audio signal via the EARC. So what we just described, it's also working as an interim solution. It's no problem at all. And if you're really keen, you still can connect then your PS5 to the 8K input.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, this picture basically is my question. Customer, he wrote, he has a PlayStation that is connected via HDMI to a AVR X2500, so a bit older model, which is connected to a 4K TV via HDMI. He set the output to game, and his questions are there any basic settings that you should especially think about when it comes to gaming to get as much as possible out of the sound and probably picture as well?
Yeah, depends on if you say gaming or so. First of all, check all your video settings. Yeah, what is the maximum video resolution your PlayStation can output? So, of course, if you have an older 2500, it only supports 4K. Yes. So you have to set it to 4K. If you check if you can do any additional settings for your game itself, in the setup of the game, not just in the setup of the PlayStation, but especially for the games you have setups. It's the same like you also have apps on your PlayStation. If you want to play a Blu-ray, for example, it's not just the setting of the PlayStation you have to change, but also your app settings for playing the Blu-ray you have to change to output, for example, bitstream audio to enjoy Dolby Atmos or Dts X.
All right, wonderful. Yeah. And even more questions, especially about 8K, because 8K is the newest technology to hit the market, and you're basically the first company to support it fully, is why is there only 1K input on the current 8K capable AV receivers? Right.
Yeah, actually, it has to do with being the first on the market to support it. We have to see the current situation in the market at about 8K. It is a new technology, which we as technology leader have to implement into our AV receivers, because our customers are really keen to get the latest feature set. And we could have stayed with 4K as well. However, our specialist customers, they want to check the box for 8K. So we have to bring it in. Situation in the market is still there's very limited 8K content, and it will surely take a few more years before really it will start moving. Yeah, so we are already happy now if we get some more 4K content. So 8K is still far out, unfortunately. There are some YouTube channels, I mentioned it here, where you can get 8K content, but it's very limited. 4K 120, as said, for the gamers is interesting. Yeah. Normally, I would guess you also only have one, either a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox. There's a solution for customers who really do want to have both. They can use the TV input in addition. And let's say we picked the 8K one input because this one was available with the full bandwidth. Yeah, with supporting 40 gigabits as a chipset because that's the video resolution actually available on the market and what is supported by TV screens. Yeah, right. Maximum is 48 gigabits. 40 gigabits is what is practical in use. There are other solutions on the market where, let's say, the manufacturer supports 3 inputs. However, these are limited to 24 gigabits today. So
it's not even the full experience.
It's not the full potential you can have on 8K. So that's why we decided to go for 8K, 40 gigabit, one input.
All right.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I guess we can continue.
Then let's continue. Let's have a look a bit more inside. So that was, let's say, all around the HDMI 2.1. So I will just now dig a bit deeper into what makes an AV receiver special. Why does it sound so good, or what is needed to make them sound good? Yeah. I think we are a bit running out of time, so I will hurry up a bit. Just a detail page on specification, as mentioned, from 7 to 11 channels we have introduced last year. And I think important to show is that we have here the output power, which is going up from 95, 105, 125, 140. So the higher you go up in the lineup, the more power you actually have to control your speakers. Because that's what it's all about. You have to control the speaker. You want to decide what is getting out of the speaker. You don't want the speaker to have an own dynamic, an own life. Yeah, but it actually has, because you start to move your chassis, and it has a certain own dynamic. But you want to control this dynamic to really have precise sound. So the better the power, the better the control of the speaker, the more precise, more detailed the overall presentation is. Yeah, so that's where a big differentiation is always on the AV receivers, because if you check standard feature set, even the entry model has Dolby Atmos, it has Dts X, it has all these nice feature set, which you also can find on the upper models. But the big differentiation and where the cost goes in is the power supply, the mechanical construction, the output stage, or where the sound is made. Let's say it this way. Yeah, and here also talking about power, I would like to highlight our 70% power guarantee. Also very important. So you can have on paper a nice 2-channel performance. However, as soon as you start to really play surround sound and you have more speakers to drive, it's a bigger challenge for the power supply. Hence, it might happen if you don't have a good power supply that all your power collapse, and if you have a 5 or 7 channels working, that you don't have power anymore available. Yeah. So what we designed the product in this way, that even in 5-channel operation, we still have 70% of the 2-channel power. So that's our rule of thumb to guarantee we have enough power. It's sounding in stereo as good as its surround sound.
So even if you crank it up and want to really have the cinema feeling at home with a big setup, big speakers, you won't run out of power. And well, power is not only sound. Well, it is also kind of it is the emotions that are transported. So that would be kind of sad when you have the climax of the movie and.
So it's not
it
about
just stays flat.
It's not about maximum volume level. It's also about the dynamics. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you have very quiet scenes, it should be quiet in the room. It should be silent. And if there's a immediate jump because thunder is going down or whatsoever, it should be there, yeah? And then it should come also from all speakers and not collapse, right?
Just sound like a little snap with the finger.
Exactly.
Understood.
And actually that's where it all starts. I said the power supply, that's actually the engine, the heart of an AV receiver, where all the energy is, let's say, created, produced, converted, stored. And that's where the power supply actually starts with the power transformer. And you can see if you go up in class in the portfolio, the further you go, the bigger the power transformer goes. Yeah, and actually this is where the energy comes from. And if you look, for example, on the right-hand side, we have the flagship, the 8500. It has a weight. The power transformer itself has a weight of 8 kilograms. That's nearly the same weight like the X1600 AV receiver as a complete package. Yeah, so. That's where it's coming from. And also the construction, how the transformer is made, has a big impact.
Yeah.
And another big impact as well is the energy you get out of your transformer, you can't immediately pass on to the AV receiver, or to the speakers, because it's not needed immediately at the same point when you produce it, but maybe a bit later when explosion happened, like just explained, or thunder going down. And this energy normally is taken out of the main capacitor, block capacitors in the power supply. And also here the quality is very crucial for the overall performance. And you can see also here different way of, first of all, size, but also even if the size is the same, the construction makes a big difference, the inner construction and all the material used and so on. So, and to bring these nicely together, that the power transformer works nicely with the capacitors and then the power stage and so on, that's a big challenge, and that requires a lot of experience.
Actually, I had a question about that, but you explained it perfectly already.
Okay, that's good. Easy one. Yeah, inner constructions. We have seen on a former picture the A110 from the inside. It was all nicely black, and on the right-hand side you can actually now compare it to the 8500, where you can see a different construction from the parts used in mechanical construction. For example, on the A110 you have a copper plate underneath the transformer, which in addition gives more stability and so on, a lot of details. But you can see here the different way of constructions in the classes of the AV receivers. From a relatively basic construction with the folded heat sinks, which is this one on here, where all the amplified channels on, while AV 2700 is our 5-star Watt Hi-Fi product, so, and it only gets it because the performance, the value for money you get is such great, so it's on such a high level. So that's what we always aim for, to really have the best performance on the price tag. And even if we go for, let's say, a simple heatsink here in this respect, in this case, we still get the maximum out of these products. And then you go further on with the different constructions, more solid heat sinks, where all channels are still on one board, to the one over there, the 6700, where you have all the monolithic boards per channel. When it comes to audio processing, we also, of course, use different technologies. AL32, for example, is a technology which, let's say, refines the digital signal. So if you have a digital signal which is taken from analog, you actually get some steps in there if you convert it back to analog. To smoothen these stairs, we have our AL32 processing, which does an oversampling of the signal and a bit rate extension, so that you can be much more precise in the signal.
We got a question about that from a customer as well. Is it only available for the AV receivers, or do you also have it in other products?
It is available on selected AV receivers. As you can see, we only applied from the, let's say, upper class 4700 and up, because it needs extra DSP power processing. It's costly. Actually, it's derived from our CD players. Yeah, because CD players back in the mid-80s, when they came to market, have been, let's say, very simple when it came to DA conversion, and you had to do some tricks to improve the performance. And that's actually when the alpha processing was started to refine the signal. At that time, it of course was not 32-bit, but it was just called alpha processing, but it was it evolved over the years from just stereo, 24-bit, then it got 24-bit multi-channel, 32-bit multi-channel, and so on. Yeah. So it evolved over the years. So it's a way. It's actually started in CD. It's working now in AV, but also we have some amplifiers where you have digital connectivity built in, like PMA 1600, PMA 2500. They also support alpha processing.
So an all-around proven feature.
Exactly, yeah. And it's Denon proprietary technology.
All right.
Yeah. Another way to construct our products also for the upper class, that we do the DDSC, dynamic discrete sound circuitry. You can do all kind of processing in just one chip, but you can also, you are very limited to tune it. Yeah? So if you separate these different stages, you have much more possibility to tweak it and sound tune it. So that's what we do with the DDSC, or discrete circuits for the different sections. Odyssey app. Odyssey is our auto room correction, auto calibration, and setup, auto setup. Because it comes with a microphone, you can just position in your listening position up to 8 different positions. It records some test sounds which will come from the speakers and adjusts the frequency response of your room.
All right. Yeah. Got a question about that as well. When should I utilize Odyssey auto calibration and room correction? Just in certain cases, or always?
I would always give it a try, because first of all, it makes the setup much easier. Yeah. So you put your microphones, it automatically detects the distance, the volume levels you have to adjust. So that's all done. It automatically detects the size of your speaker. Is it a full range or is it a smaller one? And actually defines the cutoff frequencies for the speakers. So that's very easy to do. Then in addition, of course, it does EQ to the what can be heard in the room, because there are very critical rooms with a lot of, let's say, hard walls, windows. You get a lot of reflections which have negative impact to the sound performance. And in these cases, room EQ does do a great job to reduce these type of reflections, or let's say the level of reflected frequencies. Yeah, so from signal level wise.
So it basically just cleans up the sound.
It cleans up the sound, yeah. So for some professionals, they will or they really appreciate the possibility we have that you can select the Odyssey calibration and just apply it to a certain, just for the front speakers, for example, or the surround speakers for the whole setup, or just flatten it out. So they can actually test their own setup and even compare what is working best. And to even get or go one step further, to really get under the hood, you can start using our Odyssey app, which we offer on the App Store for roughly $20. And with this one, you really can do very detailed adjustment of the frequency response in your room. So really can fine-tune the audio experience you get in your room. So it's a great tool and I'm sure you love it as well because
use it here in our stores.
Yeah. So it doesn't work always, but in many cases it's really a good tool to use. Yeah?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. At least try it out. It absolutely improves the performance.
If it sounds better, it is better probably.
Exactly. So yeah, user experience is also something we always work on to really have the best user experience. You know, AV receivers are so complex from all the functionality built in, so we have to make it usable. And we have a real dedicated UX team working on just getting it, let's say, as easy as possible for the customer to operate. And we always think about what kind of new features can we add to make it even more enjoyable to use. And yeah, just here a list now of some features we already talked about: HDMI 2.1, the power guarantee, but also some other features I'm just going to show on the next slides here quickly is, for example, how are we going to inform the customer about what actually is playing. So, you know, we have an info button. So far it was only showing what kind of audio signal is coming in and what kind of audio signal or which speakers are active. We now extended the functionality also for video. We can see what kind of video signal is coming in and what is outputted. And you can see it maybe here on the screen very nicely. By a double press on the info button, you get all the information so that you actually know what is going on in your system. And we also have an extended HDMI video information on the setup menu, where you can see the capabilities of your connected monitor. So you know immediately where's limitation in my system, why I'm not getting 8K. Sure, your TV is not supporting it or it's not activated in your TV. So you have to activate it and then you can enjoy it. You know? So all these little tools to make life easier. Yeah. 2 speaker memories we have, so that you actually can store 2 setups in your AV receiver and just select it by a press of a button. One can be, for example, you have an open area at daytime where you watch just on your TV screen. You have all, as we just talked about, reflecting windows. You have a different setup for night when you have the blinds closed and you're watching on a projector the movie, yeah, for example. Then we have some Bluetooth transmission function. So it's not only that you can play your music towards the AV receiver, but also the AV receiver can play back the sound which actually is running on your speakers also to your Bluetooth headphones. So these can run either in parallel or only on Bluetooth or only on the Bluetooth speaker headphones.
Which is a great feature, especially when it's late night and you don't want to wake everybody up, but still want to watch your movies and series. That
is one solution, yeah. Or if you have just people in your family which have some hearing problems, and actually he or she has to crank it up to get all the detail, and the others are already saying, "Oh, it's a bit loud," or you're disturbing your neighbors.
I got a question about that because I have quite old Bluetooth headphones, and sometimes when I watch some clips or YouTube videos on my phone, there's quite the latency between the video I watch and the sound I hear. Is there any latency between?
Yeah, you also have some latency here. It just, you can't avoid it because you have a certain time you need for the audio processing, which is done multi-channel first, of course, to also feed your speakers in the room. And you have to do a down mix as well to a 2-channel, and then you have to transmission via Bluetooth. So that all needs time. It's roughly about 150 milliseconds, so it's noticeable. It's like it's not a perfect lip sync, but it's still good to watch, I would call it. Yeah.
All right.
It's a good trouble solver.
Is the Bluetooth headphone also part of the latency problem?
Yeah, it also needs some time to do the DA conversion again. Yeah, so what you transmit is a digital signal. Yeah. It also needs to be converted back to analog. It needs to be amplified so that you can hear it while your speaker chassis is in little speaker chassis in your headphones. Yeah? So it also adds a bit of time to it.
Oh, right.
Yeah?
Good to know.
So it's a combination of all. Okay. Easy to connect. What we also changed for this year products is that the main areas where you connect your speakers, your HDMI, or the main outputs, we made a white solid field, while secondary outputs are just the dotted fields. Yeah, so it's already a differentiation, so you can focus really on what do I need to connect first. And all the, let's say, inputs are just black. Yeah, and you can see here all the inputs are on the left-hand side, 1 to 6 are 4K, then we have a dedicated 8K one, and then the two 8K outputs for monitor 1 and 2, and the Mighty Room output for Zone 2. Right? Cross-up mixing. I'm not sure if you still remember that there was an issue with Dolby.
Yes.
It's already 1.5 years ago. They actually didn't want to allow anymore that third-party upmixer upmixing Dolby signal. So it was not possible that you apply a DTS upmixer or an Auro upmixer to a Dolby signal. So they prohibited that. However, we fight it hard and also got the lawyers involved. And in the end, it was that Dolby pulled back and said, okay, we accept it again. You can use DTS, you can use Auro. And that's what we also have now in the new lineup again. Yeah. But as well, the products affected from 2018, for example, where we had to stop the upmixing, we also updated the firmware so that you also can use the upmixer here again. So taking care of our customers already which already purchased the product.
As a big fan of Auro 3D especially, that's really good news to hear.
Yeah, it's a great technology. Auro is really working pretty nicely, especially in upmixing. Yeah. I will just go over this one quickly. The upper models, 6000 and 4000, they get what we always do, triple down the quality technology from the flagship. So they now got the better DSP processor, the Shark DSP. On the 6700, 8500, we even have 13.2 channel processing. You know, 8500 has 13 amplifiers. On the 6700, you have 11. You can add additional stereo amplifier. Also have a 13 channel setup, which is fantastic. You have different configuration possibilities here with Dolby Atmos, Dts X, yeah, so which is now coming into the game. Auro 3D with a front height, which is really nice if you have a big screen to really lift up the vocals, or you have your voice of God, which is just above your head. And Dts X Pro, very special, only coming to the 8500 and the 6700 because they can do 13.2 channel processing. So DTS was always a bit behind Dolby Atmos and the number of channels, so they now close the gap and really offering now a solution which even can go up to 32 channels for real cinemas. We are happy with just having 13.2.
Do you need any special content for DTS X Pro?
No, there's no special content. There's no, let's say DTS X Pro is no codec, so there will be no movies decoded or coded in DTS X Pro, but it will apply on all DTS X content. And what it actually does is utilizing much more all installed speakers. So it's a different algorithm working to really get all the speakers better involved. And that's also what the DTS Neural X is pretty much improved on the DTS X Pro version. It's really also a different algorithm to get much more out of your speaker system. And not just from time to time a pling here and a pling there, but it's really getting you much more immersed.
the Neural X upmixer, especially for older movies. I watched Interstellar here in our shop, and we have a really nice surround system with height speakers, and it added so much roominess. It didn't just feel two-dimensional. I was like sitting in the spaceship during half of the movie, and it really did its job really well.
Nice, yeah. It's a good tool, definitely. Quickly about a little talking about HEOS here. It's our streaming network solution, but also responsible or used for the multi-room approach. As you can see, it's our gate to the network. It gives you access to all the online content from normal resolution, or let's say compressed audio if you talk about Spotify. However, we just learned Spotify Hi-Fi is coming to market.
Well, just a question out of own interest, because I'm using Tidal Hi-Fi, which also have high-res master quality recordings. Is there any plan for the HEOS system to also play back those kind of high-res streams?
Right. So right now we do the Hi-Fi, so it's uncompressed CD quality streaming. Of course, we like to go into the next step to also have the master quality. Means also that you have to support MQA. So we are working on it, on the implementation, and I hope that by end of the year, next year, we can have some white smoke coming out of the chimney. I can't promise it, but it's a work in progress.
Enough news to get me excited, at least.
Right. So we are not standing still, so we are moving ahead. And really, this platform, if you look to the platform, what it already can do, it's already amazing. All the access to all the different music services. If you talk about local network streaming, where you have 192.24 or DSD 11.2, which you can stream. So it's over there. So other streaming services or streaming solutions just stop with CD quality. So they don't go into the high res at all. So HEOS is already making a very good step here. And we have voice control, we have the Bluetooth cover, we have AirPlay cover. So HEOS is really our network, our solution to all these, also with the voice control. Yeah?
Wonderful.
Okay. Then very quickly here, nice thing is that our HEOS solution also combines all, let's say, all the audio solutions we offer, because it's available in AV receivers, it's available in Hi-Fi solutions, it's available in system solutions, and it's of course available in our Denon Home wireless speakers, and some installation products as well. You still can see here the HEOS Drive and also the HEOS Link. We're also working on, because they are already a bit older, these products, we're also working on getting these refreshed timely. I can't promise any exact timing, but it's also a work in progress. We are working some steps here.
Just like you're reading my mind, because I had that question down as well.
Right.
What about the HEOS Amp and the HEOS Link? But good to hear that you're doing work on those.
Nice, and the latest addition to add on to our Denon Home solution is the Denon Home soundbar, the 550, and as you can see, the one on the three on top, it's the 150, 250, 350, our wireless speakers, and then lately, or just 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, we launched the Denon Home 550 soundbar, which is also a very nice tool, a very nice piece to really improve your TV audio experience. I can show you why. So these actually are just more or less explained. Greatly rated from the press, really well received from the market with a new performance, a new look, the design, let's say the touch control on top with the sensor if you come close so that it lights up and so on. It's really
from my
amazing.
perspective, it was such a huge step up from the already, I thought, really good old HEOS line, the home speakers just sound so much better and fuller and more controlled. So that is a really good step you did with
Yeah,
those
it's
products.
not only on the cosmetic where we made a big step again. But a soundbar, as said, is for all your movies, getting more out of your TV. And here you can see the inner construction of the soundbar, and then you know why it sounds that good. Yeah, so it's actually it's a 2.0 configuration. Yeah, so you have left and right. There's no center channel because actually the format of the soundbar is very narrow. It's just 65 centimeters, so it's really nice, nicely fits under every TV, and it doesn't fill up all the space of your rack. It's really neat and good looking, but also good sounding. And by having the left and right pretty much close to each other, you actually don't need a center. Okay. You know, by our DSP processing, we can nicely, let's say, create a real spot-on focused center, while also having a nice dispersion to create a wider soundstage, and also even give you a virtual effect of having, let's say, a more, let's say, sound-filling front sound. Yeah, it gives a bit of surround effects as well. But if you really want to go into surround, you're better to add wireless surround speakers where you can use the 150, 250, or even 350 always as a pair. Yeah. No? And then you have a real surround system. And if you need bass, there's also the wireless sub which you can add on.
Got a question about those wireless rears. Is it possible to use the home series speakers with the normal Denon AVRs as wireless surround speakers?
No, it's not possible. So it's a different concept. You have to know or have to understand that in the soundbar, for example, we are working with actually 2 modules of the HEOS solution to make that possible, to also have the wireless surrounds supported. If you want to have it for AV receivers, we also would need to add on a second HEOS network, which is quite costly. And then it only is for a limited number of people really making use of it, but all the rest have to pay for it. So that's why we said, no, we keep it like it is. And especially if you look to the 1600, 2700, these are really cost sensitive. If you would add such a solution to it, you can add this feature, but you will have to cut costs somewhere else, which is performance most likely, to keep an attractive price point. So that's why we're not doing it. On the upper models, we would have, let's say, maybe the margin and the room to do that. But these type of customers, they want to have their real speakers. They don't want to just install a wireless surround. So it's a bit of a tricky solution. Yeah. So that's why we said, no, we're not going to use the HEOS.
Understandable question, understandable answer.
Yeah, okay, good. So, anything missing? Oh, we should have a look to the app. What do you think?
We should have a look
before we go to the last slide here. Because if we talk about HEOS, it's also, of course, everything about the control and the app for it. So let me check here. I would turn my iPad here and open the app. And oops.
It does look a bit different.
It does look a bit different because actually I wanted to open this one here because that's the app. However, now where you already have seen it.
That looked like a new app.
Yeah, we are working on it. Also something in progress. As many things,
right here.
You see, we are doing a lot to actually improve all the different aspects of our solutions we offer. And one aspect is, of course, the app. And just to give you a quick introduction here, that's we actually have 3 tabs: the rooms, the music, and what's actually now playing. And in the rooms, you can see all the products which are available in your network, which are HEOS equipped. In music tab, you're just going to, I have to go back here. You can select all your music services, which you have signed in for. You also have a direct link to Spotify. We'll open the Spotify app to make Spotify connect. That's now the US layout, so we also see some Pandora here, for example, or Qplay. I think that's something for China or Japanese market. Rhapsody also still on the US market. I can access my music services servers. I can also access the USB input on the rear of all the HEOS devices, so that actually they can act as a media server. In this respect, I can select from any installed product's USB and stream it to a different speaker. I can also access the music which is on the iPad. And then I go to the now playing screen, and I can see what actually is running on a specific device. I can adjust the volume and so on. I can open the queue, I can open my playlist, I can add it to my favorites, all very convenient. And if I want to do a multi-room, I just drag one of the speakers, put it to another one, they get grouped, and then I'll play perfectly in sync, the same signal.
So basically the same functionality as the last one, but the feeling I get from here and looking at it, it just feels, well, it looks new and it feels much more snappy than the old one.
Yeah, look, the design, we never changed the last 4-5 years. Yeah. So that's why many customers thought or think it's all the old stuff. However, in the background, we did so much modification on the app, on the operation. I mentioned the UX experience, and that's what we have done, of course, continuously, but it wasn't reflected by the look of the app. Yeah. Now with the new look of the app, it gets into the mind that there's something different, that something has been changed over the time. Yeah. So if I want to ungroup, I just pull it out, and they are ungrouped again.
When can we expect that new app?
You will have to be a bit patient. I think somewhere, let's say summertime. Yeah, maybe a bit earlier. We have to see.
So we've got a lot. We can be looking forward to lots of new improvements and products, and
yeah,
that was more than I expected.
Yeah, happy to hear. Yeah, that's why I'm here. So
happy to listen.
Shouldn't be not just the old stuff, but also some, let's say, outlook to what is coming. Some nice, interesting stuff. Yeah,
that is great to hear.
And my final slide: upgrade your expectation. So that's what we're always trying to do: give you stuff where you really think, "Wow, I didn't expect to get so much out of it."
Certainly did upgrade my expectations of what is to come.
Yeah.
And well, thank you for your presentation. And if any more questions remain, if you have input, criticism, or just more questions about maybe the products or the presentation you just had, just put them down in the comments and we'll try to answer them all as fast as possible. So this was Jasper from HiFi Klubben and Oliver from Denon for the HiFi weeks at HiFi Klubben. And feel free to check out all the other sessions we have in stock coming or already on our channels. Bye.